Hey, Jesse. So welcome everybody. Today I'm sitting down with Jessie Wickus. She used to work at the John Paul II Institute, and she's in the middle of a transition back to Minnesota. Woo! It's so good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. My husband and I were, previously living in Washington, D.C. and um, working at the John Paul II Institute for Studies on Marriage and Family in Washington, D.C. And we just recently moved back to Minnesota to be closer to family, and we're really excited about it. We're
That's
really,
awesome.
glad to be back.
I'm super excited to have you back. We were just talking before we started recording about how you need to come and visit me at my house so that we can reconnect. But anyway, it's good to see you here like this. Um, I wanted to get your perspective on Whole Human Challenge. Basically what you thought of the program and why you joined. So I'll just start with the initial question. Why did you join Whole Human Challenge in the first place?
Yeah, so I did the series, what was it, 8 weeks long or something, um, for the whole human challenge. And I had a desire to live more intentionally. I had a desire to live um, with more, yeah, like authenticity. I realized I was really um, disorganized. I had priorities and goals, but I didn't put in the work to actually go forward and do something more about my mental health, about being consistent in my prayer life, about being more healthy, about actually enacting the healthy habits that I wanted to live.
Yeah.
Um, and I love Isaac, love you and Shauna so much. So I you proposed that this series would um be a helpful way for me to assess what my desires even are in the first place. Like, why is it that I even want to make changes to my life in the first
Yeah,
place?
yeah,
Once that's assessed, then um, helps me see helps me see the motivation. Okay, I don't want to. It's not just self improvement. I think self improvement um, doesn't bring for much improvement often. um, but I knew that this would actually, um, having this togetherness, like
yeah,
working with um, people of faith, and I know that you are incredibly well formed and educated about like tools that actually help people with their mental health as well as all these other things, the practical things, the spiritual things. But I knew that um, I needed some help in with my anxiety, with distractions, with
yeah.
procrastination. Um, and so those were kind of the things that drew me in, that that made me want to dive in.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I think that's actually really common. Was I work as a therapist, and most people that come in have some idea of what would actually help. They're like, I just need to be more consistent about my prayer life, or I need to be more consistent about exercise. But there's something in us that just doesn't do it. We're like, yes, these are all the things that would be helpful for me to do that I'm not going to do. Um, because we're stuck in our patterns, we're stuck not keeping ourselves accountable. We do what's more comfortable or habitual. So I think that so many people are in that place, but it actually often is like counterproductive. If I have an idea of what I should be doing, then I don't need to go find help for it because I know what I need to do. I just need to do it.
Yeah.
But you're saying there was a certain point where you're just like, I know I need to do all these things, but I'm not, and so I need help. Like I need some sort of structure and accountability and guidance to do that. Beautiful.
I wasn't working on my own. I needed a companion or something to boost me into these desires that I had. The
Yeah.
desires were so big, and my capacity just felt so minuscule and small in front of
Yeah.
my desires to be more healthy, to be more um
Yeah.
yeah, more healthy.
I love that because I'm so often in that same place of like huge desire, and then I don't sleep well one night, and I'm just like, like
Then your
that. There's
capacity just gets minimized.
yeah, that there's so many like limits and demands that seem to get in the way of my desire, but that I actually really want to live like a full, beautiful life. And so it's like, how is that possible? Because I'm not giving up on it being possible. Okay, so what was your experience like actually doing it? You came
Yeah.
in with all these big desires, you came in with these hopes and expectations and needs. What was it like?
Yeah. Well, to begin, I was a little anxious about it because I thought, I don't have time for this. I'm
Yeah,
exhausted when I come home from work. How can I do that? Um, but what ended up happening was different. Um, it wasn't just a block of time to like suck up my energy at when during those meetings. It wasn't something that like stole me away from my life that I want to live.
yeah,
It was much more nourishing, and it like right away we would do different exercises to calm me down and then and actually assess, and that always made me ask, okay, why do I want to be here? Okay,
yeah,
again, my desires are so huge, but I
yeah,
am weak, and
yeah,
here is a place for me to thrive. And so I was really grateful for that, like right from the beginning. It was, this is not meant to suck time life out
yeah,
of you. This actually, and it ended up, and that was true, it ended up really enriching my week. I was ready then to go back out into my daily vocation. It was really beautiful that um I yeah, that this anxiety about it just taking up time um actually helped me live more
yeah,
fully.
yeah,
So that was just one thing right off the get-go before any of that. So if anyone out there is anxious about doing it, it actually made me feel like I was more full, more
yeah,
enriched.
yeah,
Yeah, I wish someone had told me that. So I'm telling you that out there. But yeah, it was, and yeah, so my experience was super positive. We met twice a week, and um, I loved getting together with, obviously having the lessons with Isaac, and then we'd have the small groups and at times, and it was, yeah, hugely helpful in the actual exercise, the practical daily work of helping me eat better, of helping me sleep better, of
yeah,
helping, pray more consistently. Um, those were hugely enriching, the practical, it was so easy to just reach out and say, "Hey, this one's hard. Anyone else having a hard time with this? Any tips for me on how to better wind down at the end of the day because I
yeah,
desire that?" Um, but or even like, I don't understand, why would I take a cold shower? This doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
But then people saying, okay, well, remember again, and that would help me
yeah,
dive in better. And then it helped me recenter again on what it is that this is serving.
yeah,
Um, One thing that was made really clear to me in the whole human challenge was that nothing was arbitrary. Everything was very carefully planned and considered, and for me, like not just for the group at large, but um I could tell that as you were preparing it, all the exercises you were doing were clearly crafted in a way to suit the need, like my needs that week.
beautiful.
um Little did you know that, but when you were prepared.
Praise God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Yeah, and a lot of those exercises are still helpful to me now that I bring up well after.
Yeah. Because how long has it been since you did it? A year?
I don't know. It was, it was, yeah, just about a year, January of 2022,
Wow.
and it's October of 2023.
Beautiful. Okay, so there's so much I'm loving about what you're saying, um, that I think I don't emphasize enough. Because it's called Whole Human Challenge, and a lot of people are kind of nervous about the word challenge, um, because they just think of, yep, that's a big time and energy suck. Um, and I think about this often as a therapist of like when people most need change is when they're least capable of making change. It's when they usually have the least time, the least energy, they're most burnt out. Um, and I crafted Whole Human Challenge actually with people at that place, the burnt out place in mind, of just saying like, let's challenge you to rest. Let's challenge you to set aside some of that anxious productivity. Let's challenge you to approach the way you're living life differently, to find peace. Because so often our anxiety is like, we need to control, we need to be productive, we need to do. Um, and that the real challenge I'm presenting is like, oh, like let's let go and discover life in a new way that's restful and peaceful and full of wonder and joy. Um, so I love that you're bringing that out because I forget to do that so often. I'm more like, let's do this, come on. And whereas like the real challenge for us today is often how do we rest well? Instead, like we switch between hyper productivity and like kind of zombie out in technology, and we don't know how to actually like live restfully present. Um, and
Yeah.
then I also love that a year later, you're saying a lot of these things are still echoing through my life. It's not just like, oh, that was nice, and then I move on. But you're saying like there's a bigger change that continues to echo forward.
Yeah. There
Beautiful.
was a practical moment of that where, or well, in my life, I, yeah, I really oscillate between so productivity focused and I'm over concerned about efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I have narcolepsy, so that slows me down and I have to take naps often and I get a brain fog and I feel like I can't do anything for a long time sometimes. And so I feel like I'm oscillating between um, you know, ineffective sleepiness and then just this push for okay, now that I am awake, now that I
Yeah.
am motivated, I have to just obsess about this and get the things done, do the things,
Yeah.
just all the projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, where in reality, there's a unity of life and actually a continuity in how they're actually meant to serve each other and how, like, if I'm mindful and centered on Christ, then the entirety of it is purified and corrections need to be made to both sides, no doubt about it. Um but it's not, yeah, I find myself bouncing between those extremes.
Yeah.
And um yeah, I like that it's a human challenge. It's not um a self-improvement challenge or
Yeah.
a mental health
Yeah.
challenge. It's human
Yeah.
in in every way. It all of the human needs are addressed.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a humongous strength.
Yeah. And as I've been reviewing to prepare for um this next launch that's coming up. So October 15th, next we're starting. So if you're listening to this, sign up. But as I've been preparing, I really realized that at the heart of everything I'm trying to do is like the two commandments Jesus gives us. Love the Lord your God with everything you've got and love your neighbor as yourself. Um, and realizing that we kind of live by the commandments of like, be hyper productive, do lots of things, and then enjoy yourself because you deserve it. We kind of, yeah, we live between those two things, where instead, often to be able to love is has to do more with how I'm present. It's not what I'm doing, it's not how much I'm doing, but like this is really clear with my kids, or with my spouse, where it's just like, hey, the way I can love you is actually by being present to you. Um, and that being present actually takes a lot of skills. Like my anxiety makes me not want to be present. So like I need to have skills that address my anxiety, or my sleep deprivation makes it harder to be present. So I need to have skills that help me sleep better. Um, and so like it comes down to like skills, but then like psychologically how I'm processing things, and then also like spiritually, what's my foundation for my identity. And all of those things help me to receive love differently and help me to love differently. Where I can be present in a way that's loving instead of productive in a way that does a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And productivity and efficiency is actually, it's actually a minimization of what my desire actually is. Like, for instance, I really wanted to be more productive at work.
Mhm.
I didn't want to have this brain fog slow me down. I wanted to have a, but it's actually the deeper desire is actually I want to be more invested in my life, the
Mhm.
whole of my life. I want to love
Yeah.
my spouse better. I want to love my family better.
Yeah.
Um, I want to love my work. I want to serve my workplace. I want to serve my parish. I want to um, eat better, exercise, all these things.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
dive in um, to all of life.
Yeah.
And that the challenge really helped me assess that, and
Yeah.
that it wasn't just I want to veg out and rest and totally clock out after work,
Mhm.
put on the TV and not do anything, or do all the things at work, save everyone, and
Yeah.
finish everything perfectly. Like that, all of it in
Yeah.
reality, I actually want to serve the
Yeah.
Lord, my
Yeah.
daily vocation,
Yeah.
um, richly. So ultimately, both are really minimized.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And it's so helpful to remember often that the Lord has already won. And because then my productivity doesn't need to be anxious productivity. Because when it's anxious productivity, it's I'm trying to save the world, where the Lord has already saved the world. Or I'm trying to save myself or my family, and the Lord has already saved me and my family. Um, or I can find often the opposite side of like clocking out, just scrolling on my phone or being on technology. It's like the reverse side. Like I've kind of given up. I'm despairing. I don't have enough to save myself for the world. So I don't know how to face these problems in me or in my environment. So I need to escape. Where it's like if the Lord has won, I can work, I can work with peace because I'm just participating in his victory, and I can rest with peace because he's already won. Like he's the one taking care of things. Like I've been praying the surrender novena like crazy, probably for like 9 months now. I just keep praying it on repeat. But the refrain of it is, "Oh Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Take care of everything." And I love it because he wants to take care of everything. Whereas we think he wants to take care of some things and show up and be kind of mysterious and miraculous sometimes, and then he goes away, and then I have to take care of my life. And but he's like, I actually want to take care of everything. You just surrender to me. Um, that we can surrender to him in the work we do and in the rest we do.
he rejoices when he hears that. That's the thing. I think I'm giving him a new to do. Oh yeah, me, Jesus, over here. Oh man, save me too. Um, but he rejoices in hearing that.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Okay, so what would you say to people that are watching this that are just on the fence about joining Whole Human Challenge? They're like, okay, that seems like too much time. That seems like too much energy. That seems like too much money. Is it worth it? Is it good for me? Can I actually do it? So those people that are there watching it is now saying,
Right on
Jessie,
the brink, right on
yeah,
the
yeah.
fence.
And like, do I click sign up? Do I do it, Jessie? Tell me.
I'm gonna tell you to do it. So I think that all of us are filled with so much clutter in our brains, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be insecurity, anxiety, distractions, just self-doubt generally, fear. We all have fear. Um, and these are all fair. Like these are all, I don't want to say reasonable, but they're normal to our human existence and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And um, one thing that the thing that I pulled away the most from the challenge when I did it was that I'm not stuck. I don't have to be stuck. The I like feeling, feeling like I'm in a mud pit and the mud is slowly drying and I'm stuck in it,
Mm-hmm.
um, with whatever it is. Um, it's just not true. You're not stuck. And this was hugely liberating for me and helpful in seeing my desires for what they are and seeing why I was feeling stuck. And then Isaac gave me so many tools for helping me get unstuck, but also making me look at the entirety of the situation in that, like, okay, I'm not actually stuck. It's that my anxiety is clouding everything. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck because I'm in a cloud of anxiety smoke. and, but in reality, Christ has won. I have these tools to help me see. Okay, here's one really, really concrete example of something that I used to always struggle with that the whole human challenge has helped me immensely. Um, One moment in particular, I was all anxious about cleaning my room. And you can apply this to lots of things. But in my example, it was my room. I said, or my husband in my room, it was a huge mess. We had lots of things we needed to do and organize. And the time came for me to, do it. And I was so anxious about it. I felt like I couldn't tackle it. It seemed so huge, larger than me. Um, this project, this thing. And I just sat back and I did one of Isaac's exercises. I just did like a quick body scan and I did like a quick look at, okay, in reality, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I feeling this way? What's informing my fear? And what is the truth within it? What is it that um, the first step in the series, distraction to presence? Like, why am I feeling so incompetent in front of this? Why am I feeling so distracted from even just doing the things that I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what is actually present here? What am I trying to go toward? Why do I feel stuck? And I learned a lot about myself in this particular moment where it okay, if I don't do it perfectly, therefore is it not worth doing? Um, no. Um, Christ works with imperfect vessels all the time,
Yeah.
every day, and that all the steps along the way, and now for that was like a big kind of jarring moment of like, oh my goodness, like things are opening up for me. Like things are opening up. Reality is more open than I realized. I am not stuck.
Yeah.
Um, but and I saw how Christ was using that all
Yeah.
along. But now all the time it's like a quicker pace now. For that moment, it took like a couple hours for me to just
Yeah.
um but yeah, that's just a big fruit for me that came out of the challenge. That
Yeah.
in the midst of feeling stuck, it's way more open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that because I've actually been thinking about this a lot. I've been building some psychology theory which has been pretty cool. But just this idea that in every moment there's like situational and finite needs and desires, and there's also eternal and infinite needs and desires. Um, and so like doing the body scan and being able to do some grounding, that's addressing the anxiety that's flooding through your system in this situation. And then being able to calm that, you're able to get to this deeper need around your identity. Well, like, who am I? Who am I to God? Why am I so scared to take a step here? Why does my identity feel like it's so much on the line? Why is this such a risk? And like, can I be loved if I do this imperfectly? Is my life going to be okay? Like there's these big infinite questions that relate to like our soul. Who am I? Like these identity questions related to God and our ultimate meaning and value. But they're like connected to the situational. Like, okay, there's just actually a lot of anxiety flooded through my system, and I've got to put things on other things and clean my room. But they're always so integrated.
Yeah, unity with Christ is so much more it's not like a braid where there are three different things woven together. It's actually Christ is actually deeply more like clay, like one substance in all of these concerns of my life.
Mm-hmm.
He's intensely interested, you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
because he's um yeah, way more
Yep.
introverted to it. And I just yeah, the whole human challenge helps me see that way more transparently.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to show everybody the workbook real quick because I'm super proud of it. I just actually finished up, like this is the official copy. So it's got nice, beautiful pages. You can buy it on Amazon. It's going to ship right to your house. It'll have all these beautiful quotes. So it's just such a cool challenge. It's 7 weeks. You're going to be put with an accountability group of 5 people that are just going to like walk with you through this, and you're going to be walking through it together and really just learning a new way to live in Christ, with that like within his fullness, within his passion, and also within his peace and rest. And so yeah, take the risk. Thank you so much, Jessie. You're amazing, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
Yes, God bless you.